This is the Gold Hall at the Royal Opera House in Stockholm. It's called the Kungliga Opera House in Swedish, and this is a fantastic Gold Hall which is called the Foyer and Guldfjorden, and yeah, it's really very spectacular. I mean, like many opera houses in Europe have fantastic gold gilded halls, and like yeah, this is one of those fantastic opera houses in Europe. And today is the showing of Jenufa, which is a libretto in Czech conducted by Leos Janasek. And yeah, as we move through the hall, basically this opera house, you can have is served in the interval time. You can have your servings of whatever you choose, and then yeah. And each time an opera plays, the first time it's plays for that season, each year is called a season. Season is generally for, say for now, it's like 2024 and 2025 season, this opera. So the first time it plays in that season, it's called a premiere. And then, of course, it plays for a few weeks or a few months. And then usually any great opera house usually plays operas, ballets, and concerts. Yeah. So this is similar to any great opera house. And then today is a show for Janasek, and then you can, in the interval, you can order the food, and then before the opera, they usually give a briefing on what the opera is about, a brief about the story. They may not reveal the whole story, but they will just give you a brief, and that's called the program. And then you can also buy a small booklet called the program, which contains details of the opera, the cast, and other details. And then you have intervals, sometimes one or two intervals, usually depending on the acts. Like generally there is usually one interval, but if there are more acts, or if the opera is long, then they have more intervals. And then of course people here come to enjoy the food. It's a total experience. They come to enjoy the food, they order the food, and the food is usually delivered at these tables. That's the reason we find these numbers here. And yeah, this food can be enjoyed in the interval. And then of course they have a small stall that usually sells coffee and small snacks, or things like small cakes or snacks and other things. That's in the interval part. And then of course the opera itself is in multiple parts, like multiple acts, and then of course it has fantastic music and singing. Since it's an opera, it's music plus singing, and if it's a ballet, then it's music plus dancing. And of course the other elements that make up are usually the sets, and the lighting, and the clothing, and if it is ballet, then the shoes are also very important because the dancers are dancing. Opera has different kind of, they are called singers. They are called graded by different voice levels and tone types. They are very scientific, like tenor, baritone for men, and other classifications. For women, it's called soprano, mezzo soprano, and so on. So this is the fantastic golden foyer of the Royal Stockholm Opera House. It's really fantastic.